Shalom, Israel. Shalom, Israel. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York.
Church.
And is run, and today, I.S.U.P.K is run by Commanding General Yohanna, the man with the rank and authority under Christ, to be the leader of Israel until Christ return, until Christ make that majestic return to save his people. I want to say, Yahweh Basham Yahushai Barakatam to my brothers, Yahweh Shamar Il Atan Basham Yahushai to my sisters. All right. Today now we're going in on Israel's greatest sin. What's Israel's greatest sin?
Idolatry.
Why you say idolatry?
Okay, sir. I know me you said earlier, so. You know what you said.
Okay. Yes, the thing that the Most High eats above all the sins that we have committed against him. The fact that as a people we keep putting dummies before the Most High, because that's what these so-called other gods are really. Dummies. They can't do anything for us. You can't pray to them and they answer. We can't find ourselves in problem and they redeem us. Dummies. Today we are as a nation, in distress. The other God can't free us. As a matter of fact, the other nation use those dummies to enslave us. Enslave us with things that really and truly don't really have power over us. You know? No power more than what you give to it. But first of all, we want to know what is idolatry. So let's turn over all stones and expose what is said about idolatry. First, we're going with Google. You know, I can't really believe that so much rain falling on the place still so hot, you know. This is not fair. According to Google, idolatry in Judaism and Christianity, the worship of someone or something other than God, as though it were God. So this is the heathen's definition of idolatry, telling you that it is the worshiping of something other than the creator God that is not God. The first of the biblical 10 commandments prohibits idolatry. Thou shalt have no other God before me. And that is true. What does the Zondervan says about idolatry?
Another one can. The worship of false gods, whether by means of images or otherwise.
The worship of false gods, that is not Yahweh, whether by an image or otherwise. Continue.
Another one can. And the worship of Jehovah by means of images or Yahweh. By means of images.
That's it.
It is a long.
There's the next part that you read.
The first part. The worship of false God, whether by means of images or otherwise.
Continue.
Another one can. And the worship of Yahweh by means of images.
And the worship of Yahweh by means of images.
Another one can.
Like Caesar Borgia.
Can.
So the same. All right. The Edomites translate the Bible. Well, it was done by King James first, but it is promoted in the Edomites church. The same Edomites wrote the Zondervan. And the same Edomites are telling you that idolatry is the worshiping of Yahweh by images. And it's the same Edomites who give you that Caesar Borgia. So in other words, the very same Edomites know. The very same Edomites know that Caesar Borgia in the church is idolatry. I think that's it for that. It's the worshiping of Caesar Borgia in the church is idolatry. Sorry, well, that's plastering or just putting it in the church. That's what idolatry. But they still do it. Why? Why they still do it?
Because it's their allegiance to the false Christ, the Caesar Borgia.
That's your allegiance to idolatry, huh? Well, that's a good explanation, because that's the way it seems. As though they have sworn allegiance to the false image. And whatever they need to do to maintain the false image, they will do it. Take me to Deuteronomy 5, 6 to 7. Deuteronomy 5. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 6 to 7. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Thou shalt have none other gods before me.
All right. So he's telling you that him take you out of bondage, and you are to have no other God before. He give you the reason before he even tell you to not have any other gods. Him tell you that him take you out of bondage. So put no one before me.
God.
Jeremiah 10.
God one can. God one can.
Jeremiah chapter 10, found it.
Concept.
All right. Go from verse 1.
God one can. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
All right. So this is to everybody, the 12 tribes. Continue.
God one can. Verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
All right. We still have on TV where they're advertising the Indian, what they call it? Astrologer thing there.
God.
Like stargazers.
God.
We still have it?
But I don't know about TV, but I know it's here for radio.
You still hear it on radio? If I hear it on TV. I saw it, It's still on the TV, but I remember when it just came out, it was like every other ad. They flood the TV, the television, or local television with, and now they even you even see black people advertising it. But they call the man, the first one, the guru, or the Hindu man. There was a name.
Don't remember.
There was a name, a Hindu name that they were. Yes. And this is how our people are. I mean, why is it we always get, maybe our road seem to, the Most High did not give us the road to prosperity. He didn't give us in parable. Maybe to us it's too plain.
God.
So we look and say, no man, it's much deeper than this. Can't be so easy.
God.
The journey is not easy, but the fact that the Most High just shows and say, all right, this is it.
God.
Follow these laws, treat your brother this way, and so on and so forth. And you don't even have to fight. It's like our people look and say, it's like you're going in battle. I'm sending you in battle against some men who, you saw images of them training, videos of them training, and you see them go through some rough training, right?
God.
And then I'm sending you in battle. And I said to you, in order to conquer these men, you're not going to eat any pork. You're not going to eat any shell food. You're going to keep yourself a certain way. I tell you nothing about the art of war, of fighting. I just tell you what you should do. And then I say, go. The first thing you think, as I send the money, I said, no, go kill me. Look how them man are bad. Look how them can kick. Look how them can shoot.
Not even one training session.
And not even one training session, me don't get how to kick, how to shoot.
God.
Nah, man. Too easy start. Kill yourself, never kill me. Probably this is how we as a people, as a nation, saw the road to prosperity. So we look at the other nation and say, nah, man, every Easter, them one over here, so them bake buns and they make cheese and they paint up Easter eggs and they eat the bun and they have a merry little time and their people are fruitful, because that is what Easter is about, fertility.
God.
So we look across the fence and we see it and we say, our father tell us not to celebrate fertility. No, sir. Something all right. It must be, because why are we always slipping into idolatry?
It's lucky, almost like how Jamaican people think everything will come from fire.
Thank you. Thank you. So much so that when they go abroad and they say, what they are relegated to abroad is nothing compared to Jamaica. But they can't really come and tell us, boy, so me not live a better life at Jamaica.
God.
They just have to make the best of it. Kiss ass if they have to, as they would put it. But this is how we normally get screwed as a people. Right? This year in the time of Jeremiah, the temple was there. The writings, the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy of Holies. Many of them went into the temple and see when the priest dropped down in the Holy of Holies and dead, because he went in unclean. And they had to pull him out by the rope. They witnessed all that. And yet still they did this. Continue with it.
Another one can. Verse 3. For the custom of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest.
Cut a tree out of the forest.
God. The work of the hands of the workman with the axe. Verse 4. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
All right, so we're entering into a season now that we call the Christmas season. And here, Jeremiah, from the time of the Bible, this was Jeremiah a couple hundred years before Christ. Maybe it wasn't 1,000, but at least 500 years before Christ. You had Jeremiah. And here, Jeremiah showing or speaking about Christmas tree. Because it was practiced by our people from before the time of Jeremiah. And Jeremiah, so much so that Jeremiah have to speak about it so that people know that this custom is vain. Verse how we are now? 5.
Another one can. Verse 5. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must need be born, because they cannot go.
So basically, Jeremiah have to be explaining to listen. Is you go and cut the tree, you fasten it so that it don't topple. You deck it with the silver and the gold. You make it upright. It's as upright as a palm tree. This thing cannot speak. Right? What's that? They are upright as a palm tree, but speak not.
God.
You have to carry it. They must needs be born, because they cannot go by themselves. Don't be afraid of it, for they cannot do evil. Continue.
Neither also is it in them to do good.
They cannot do evil, and they can neither good. They can't do good nor bad.
God.
Why did Jeremiah have to explain it like this? Because of the story that was behind the evergreen tree about Nimrod. The Nimrod tree, that is where the Christmas tree came from. And it's one of the idols that plague our people until this day. From before Jeremiah until now. The story has changed, but people fell in love with the tree, no? In Jeremiah's time, the story was such that if you don't take presents and put under this tree, you're going to cut Nimrod is going to beard you and hang your head under the tree. But just like how what do you call it now? Witchcraft. Just like how our witchcraft is, whereas if somebody come and do the thing, it was the same way. Somebody go and cut off these people and hang it under the tree in the night. Not the tree move and go cut, not the spirit of Nimrod move and go cut off anybody's head. There were those among the groups who watch and see who did not bring any present to put under the tree. And then they go on them at night and cut their head off and hang it on the tree. That's what the silver and gold balls under the tree represented. The human head that used to hang under the tree for not putting any gift under the tree. So there you understand why you put gift under a Christmas tree. Came out of idolatry. And now the Christmas tree is in the church on the altar.
Snap your sir on the altar right beside the podium that the reverend speaks.
Yes, man, the pastor sit here waiting to speak on the Christmas tree right beside him. As a matter of fact, the various parks that you have where they put up this big Christmas tree in the town square, it's always some church that have they call it a tree lighting ceremony. Yes. And these are idolatry. Continue reading.
Verse 6. For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great in might. Verse 7. Who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For to thee does it appertain, for as much as among all the wise men of the nations, and in all their kingdoms, there is none like unto thee.
All right. So Jeremiah is showing you that of all the kings of the nation, Yahweh is the greatest. For as much as among all the wise men of the nation, Yahweh is the greatest. All the kingdoms of the earth, the God that Israel praise is the greatest. Continue.
Verse 8. But they are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanities.
Right. Meaning the whole of them, the whole of the kings of the earth and things. There are stock of doctrines of vanities. Verse 9.
Verse 9. Silver spread into plates is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Euphaz, the work of the workman and of the hands of the founder. Blue and purple is their clothing. They are all the works of cunning men.
But this is how these nations, kings and priests dress, you know. Silver spread into plates. That's one.
Silver pressed into plate.
Spread.
Into plates.
So silver.
About the Christmas tree.
No. The silver spread into plate is the silver from Tarshish, gold from Euphaz, the work of the workman. So they make things out of these gold and put them into plates. For what? Thank you. Offering plate that one.
Okay.
So in these idolatry settings, they come around with the plates. So they would have their special silver or gold. Like I said, this is what I'm giving this year. Right. So far then come from where this was what was happening in Israel. So they worshiping, I don't know what they call the religion then, but it was the Christmas tree and Nimrod. Plates, offering plate, and this was how they were dressed. Blue and purple is their clothing. All the work of cunning men. That show you that what? They were beautifully dressed. Something to look on. And you go and you give them your silver and your gold. Continue.
Verse 10. But the Lord is the true God.
But the God that Israel worship, He is the true
God. He is the living God and an everlasting King. At His wrath, the earth shall tremble.
All right. So He is the living God. He is the God that is alive. These gods that you have heard praising is not alive.
God.
And why we spend so much time talk about idolatry? Because we have done several classes. We look at it from all angles. Why? Because idolatry attack our people from all angles.
God.
Some end up in idolatry, and I say end up because they didn't plan to do it. But before they know it, they in it. Yeah. Somebody invite you to some. As a matter of fact, Say somebody invited to a Muslim mosque. You never did know anything about how they operate and things. So you go now and you see, let's say they would do things like this. Lovely dress in their robe for the ceremony with the offering plate, and you look and you say, damn, they are so orderly. Because they always are. They are so orderly. They are so wonderfully dressed. They speak so eloquent about God. They speak so eloquent about the things that you should do in life. You know, I'm going to be with you. And then they invite you the next time, and by the third time you say, yeah man, join them people, man. And people are like the people who should be with. But you're an Israelite. And your God, the God that you are bound to, who is the true and living God, have power over all these things. Tell you from generations before. One, don't get into these things. Two, your path to success, your path to prosperity, your path to eternal life is in these laws. But you don't follow these laws under your people's teaching. You want to follow them under the Muslim teaching.
Right.
You want to follow it under the Christian teaching. And you want to follow it under the Judaism teaching. So in other words, you want other people to interpret it for you.
God.
Damn lazy. Can't say anything more than that. Just lazy, you're lazy.
God.
The thing was given to you. The car was given to you to drive. But you feel that you must have a chauffeur who you must take orders from. It's not even a chauffeur who you giving orders, you know. A chauffeur, you know, the chauffeur telling you where I'm taking you.
God.
And you just tell you what, anywhere is fine with me. Damn worthless.
God.
That is what plague our people's mind from ever since. They find themselves in poverty and thing, and it's like they say, no sir, the people are over me. Can't tell me nothing. You tell me say me in a poverty because my father did commit some sin we me no know about, when my father no know about, and as me come and suffer. No sir, the man never come here that throw sitting over me.
Yeah.
Can't tell me nothing. He said, no brother, you can't tell me nothing. I go by the other man, they can tell me hear him say. That's our people.
God.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that a part of the strong delusion that the Moses said he's going to do?
No?
No.
The delusion that the Moses said was stronger than that. Christianity is a strong delusion. Yeah, man. So much so that you believe that that priest in the robe who come and flash him, what kind of aisle? The old long aisle.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of holy aisle? The old long aisle. Because everybody else in that church arise and you can't rise. So you see him flash it and then flash it on Mr. So and so, and you see them rise. And they come flash it on you and you can't rise. I hold long aisle, man. Come and flash the whole long water on you and you look around and him do it so orderly. And then how him poised and everything. That's a witchcraft, that holy, you know. That's the delusion. The strongest delusion you can ever get.
God.
Because there's nothing in it.
God.
The only thing in it, if you go up there and try to attack him, the very same congregation will kill him before you go up there. That's the thing. It's right in here. Verse what, right? 10?
Gun. But the Lord is the true God. He is the living God and an everlasting King. At his wrath, the earth shall tremble, and the nations shall not be able to abide his indignation.
All right, what is the indignation? Definition for indignation. That sounds like something that atomic bomb caused.
Anger or annoyance provoked by what is perceived as unfair treatment.
Anger or annoyance. Provoked by what? Unfair treatment.
Provoked by what is perceived as unfair treatment.
All right. So you get a man cross, angry. But about one particular say cross, angry, what?
Miserable.
Miserable.
Yeah.
So that is the indignation that the Most High, that, and guess what? It's really, we are the only one who really getting vexed, you know. The other nation not getting vexed so much, you know. It's only when they do things to us, it angers him. But we, oh, son, we're the only nation getting vexed.
Yeah.
And verse, we're at 10.
Verse
Right,
11.
it says, and the nation shall not be able to abide his vexation, his wrath, his indignation. 11.
Verse 11. Thus shall ye say unto them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, even they shall perish from the earth and from under these heavens.
Right. These gods that did not make the heavens and the earth, they are going to perish from under the earth as well.
God.
Yeah, man, because you keep on tempting my people with them. Christmas tree, Ishtar. You come up with Caesar Borgia. Caesar Borgia is really like Zeus, you know.
God.
And which other idolatry have? Buddha and all them. They were disciples. Right?
God.
But most of them came from Egypt. They have their roots in Egypt. Greece, the Grecians didn't have these gods and Grecian myths until when Alexander went into Egypt and started studying what Egyptians used to do. So these gods, that is how we have. Ishtar is from way back as Egypt, you know. Went into the Grecians. From Grecians went into Rome. From the Romans down to us now as what? Easter. And the Americans have him as Lady Liberty.
Okay, God.
But it's the same God. And they think that these gods are powerful because they have been, if you look from Egypt rule the world, Egypt had it and they rule the world. The Grecians had them and they rule the world. The Babylonians had them and they rule the world. Rome had them and they rule the world. So they think that having them will make them rule the world? Or are you going to be able to convince them otherwise? You're going to have to just kill out all the descendants, the followers, and start a new breed. That's all you have to do. Because these countries that aspire, the nation that aspire to rule the world, they believe that one, they have to have the Israelites under subjection, which is really true, because every nation that rule the world had us under subjection. Even when Persia was ruling, Media Persia, we were in the kingdom because it was Babylonian. Right in Daniel time, it split to Media Persia. Then there was the Grecians, the Romans, going as far back as the Egyptians. All these nations that aspired to world domination had us under subjection. If they can't put you under subjection, they can't rule the world. So what you have to do now? You do the right thing, rule the world, and put them under subjection. Because they, with their uncircumcised, unclean eating, devil worshipping, idolatry of self, wants to rule the world. That means they are going to contaminate you.
God.
So what they're going to do? Follow, and what we require to rule the world, just be obedient. Obedience. All right, we're at verse 1. 13 or 12?
Verse 12. Verse 12. He has made the earth by his power. He has established the world by his wisdom, and has stretched out the heavens by his discretion. So
this is showing that the God that Israel serves can do all these things and has done all these things. All the other gods, they never do anything. They can't do anything. Continue.
Verse 13. When he uttereth his voice.
He never voice. The other gods can't speak.
God. When he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens, and he causeth the vapor to ascend from the ends of the earth. He makes
smoke, steam.
God. He maketh lightning with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures.
All right. So can these other gods do that? No. This is Jeremiah telling you that you don't even see the military might of the Most High. He's just him telling about what he created. When you talk about military might, God, the Most High said, I'm not going to get down on that level with you. You have to first be able to defeat the natural disasters that I'm sending on you if you want to fight me. What I'm going to give you Christ. Fight him if you want to fight. There was some man who they know they're going down, but they just want somebody to fight. If even for self-satisfaction, they know them losing, you know. But they just want to beat up somebody or beat up on somebody. If they even get a beat up, but at least them, you know, release their anger. Well, that's the nations. That's what they want to do. Look at these white people forming militias. Who they fighting against?
Other white people.
Exactly. Fighting against each other themselves. They don't need a militia to fight against the blacks in America. The police over there already doing it. So all they would do is go and join the police force. So obviously they need more than that. They need a fight. These militias, full military fatigue, you know, looking for a fight.
Look, yes, sir. All that ammunition and firepower they accumulate over the years and all that thing. Eventually, I want to use it.
No, exactly.
And the people them where you want to use it for, Them coming like them not even know they made from them foot here, man. So might as well turn it by your fellow white man.
Right, they want a fair fight.
Yeah.
It's like
anxiety,
you are the world champion, or you're a boxer, you're a world champion. The man who say one challenge you, the first thing you do, you're going to check his record. You know. Who you beat up? When you look, you see him never beat up anybody. When you want to come fight me?
Fight.
You're not in sparring partner, you're not qualified to fight. Go and beat up on some other people first. Before you talk about you want a shot at the title. So they are going to beat up on each other. And Christ is going to come and give them a shot at the title of Christ. Which you know that they will not win. All right, continue.
Another one come. Verse 14. Every man is brutish in his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them.
Every founder is confounded by the graven image. So these graven images, talk about even the wise of these nations, you know. Is the false God them worship? God. You ever listen to some Muslim scholar? You ever listen to some Muslim scholar online?
For the farthest never go with that about TITHES a buckle. So some of the Muslims in the conscious community.
You need to listen to some of these Muslim scholars, man. They are online, you know, you can't listen to them. And some of the old, wise, quote unquote, wise Islam men. You listen to them, you would say, yeah, man. The man sound like they have a little wisdom. But here, you get the edge over them now. Because you know the truth. You pick up on the flaws in their speech. But somebody who not in the truth would be drawn by them. Because they are not able to pick up on the flaws. What happened?
Because they're trying to recon.
They are not able to pick up on the flaws. But you in the truth is able to pick up on the flaws. So these idolatry, but the confounding, we are going to use the for them one graven image to confound them. You know. It's you the wise have to do it. You know. The little man out there who don't know him head from him foot and feel that the all in all is wealth. Can't confound nobody. Because the man who will go seek to confound richer than him. But you in the truth, knowing that wealth is not the all in all. You need wealth, you need sustenance and things. But you can confound them. They could have reached like I don't know what. Could have reached like Donald Trump. Who say him have so much money that he don't need to take the president's salary. That's the first red flag they should really look at it. Yeah, man. So when time come now for him to leave the powerhouse, might have a problem. You just might have a problem.
God. I look forward to see what that goes.
Yep. Because if he wins, well, Biden's side might not make any problem, but might.
They'll have more and more protests, man.
They'll have more protests.
Black Lives Matter, they will get frustrated and
yes.
They will take the protest to a different level.
And then the militias, them all try to come up against them. And then natural disaster will lead them in the midst.
They will take a picture now. Then militia them.
Yeah, and then.
Say, yo, pull them back now the place, man.
Yeah, because you notice when the protests come in the cities, militias are out.
God.
so that they are protecting their city.
God.
And then the Most High is going to knock them with more natural disasters,
God.
more sickness, COVID not going anywhere. So it's just chaos inside. That is confounding of their founders by their own graven image. For his molten image is falsehood. Continue.
And there is no breath in them.
No life. 15.
They are vanity and the work of errors.
Right, so that is what I'm talking about. You can pick up the error. Try to find them on the thing there. And some of the Muslim man them with them white ear and tall beard and like guru look. And you listen to them. But it's just because you are in the truth why you can pick up and say foolishness about that. Foolishness. And the speech they make is not speech in which they are able to live by.
God. More like philosophy.
Exactly.
God.
But everything that the Most High give us can be lived by. Christ came and showed that. And many of us have lived it.
God.
Right. Just that you fall somewhere along the line. Verse 1. 16.
Verse, still in 15.
All right, continue.
In the time of their visitation, they shall perish. Verse 16. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the farmer of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name.
Right. When it said,
Yahweh is his name.
Yeah, right. The Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Well, rod is where you use to chastise and rule with, eh?
God.
So you refer to us as rod. But out of all the nations on the earth, we are the ones whom he picked out because of Abraham. So you have to always understand that. That's the only reason why he is so patient with us, because of Abraham and the promise he had made to Abraham. When the entire world has gone to idolatry, Abraham was a one man in the world, like a one-man band. Yeah, you hear me? And Abraham wasn't poor when he was in Mesopotamia. He was a teacher that you would call a teacher back in those days was like the greatest thing, next to a king. Right?
Yeah.
And his family obviously was wealthy. But he decided, nah, me leave this idolatry thing. Me not them idolatry thing. They kick him out of the country. He was kicked out of the country. The Most High saw that they gave up all this just to stick with Yahweh. I said, no, so I'm going to raise a people unto this man. And he raised Jacob and the sons of Jacob, of whom we are descendants. Now, doing all that, we, from the time of, from Obak, from a long time, has never remained truth to him for any long period of time.
Yeah.
And one of the main cause is the temptations from the other nations. Yes, we are stupid to make them tempting us. But at the same time, some of this is more than just them waving gold in front of your face. Them actually invading the territory and taking your children and raise them onto idols. The entire thing is idolatry, is about idolatry. You know. A nation come and invade your country. What you think him doing? Just taking your kind of work? First thing him doing, give up,
Re-educate us.
Yeah. First thing him do. If King Jong-un was invading countries, what do you think he would do? He would erect his statues in this country. Yeah. And on his birthday, you would have to go and lay flowers and bring gifts at the shrines. I think in South Korea there's a day where they have, you know, like a national holiday, where they go and they remember King Jong-un father and grandfather who already died. It's like idolatry. They go at the statue and they bow and they lay wreaths and things at the feet of the statue. Right. So if they were to invade people, they would be bringing in onto this.
Same way like how the white man spread Christianity. Same thing.
Same way. Same way. You think of all these tribes, South America, from Central down to South America, all the way down to Brazil. Those who speak, everybody speaks Spanish except for Brazil who speak Portuguese. And when you read about the Spanish Inquisition and all the atrocities that took place during the Spanish Inquisition, it was in the effort of conforming these people. Conforming them to what? Christianity. Right. Conforming them to idolatry. But they think it's over. It's not. The Muslims are going to come and reverse it and do the same thing unto them. And they're not going to get any image to say, this is Yahweh. Come on, say, stop doing what you're doing. Tear down these false images. Tear down these groves. Them Bohemian Grove and them whatever grove.
God. So yes, you know, say Bohemian Grove for the first conspiracy theory they woke up on. Or Illuminati, one of the first.
All right. And people never believe say anything they name. So.
Well, I used to sound like a mad person to people. Tell people about the Bohemian Grove, and people used to say, oh, I'm to that boy. About conspiracy and 9/11.
And yet still every single president, except for Mr. John Trump, has been invited into Bohemian Grove, from whichever party, and go by their festivals or whatever they call it. So in other words, it's all rich and powerful people partying there.
And you have what? Police presence to secure up the party.
All right.
So obviously, you have something to report that.
So we, the poor, now get the impression that so you have to flex in order to be rich.
Right.
So you have to do what they're doing. Right. While the Most High already show us that these things don't mean anything. Cut down them groves, tear down their idols. You follow these laws, and you will rule over them.
Groves, yeah?
Eh?
See them grow. So I say, we don't Bohemian Grove, we don't even know what a grove is.
All right.
It's just solidify with the Most High, that's it.
Exactly. Exactly. So we now look and say, then look how powerful them money be. And you tell me, say, all I need to do, stop eating crab, sugar, and lobster, stop breaking the laws, start following the laws, and me are going to end up ruling the world. And you know what? Me don't want to rule the world. Because you hear a lot of them say that, you know. I don't want to even want to rule the world. That's fine, you don't want to do it.
That's why I live happy.
But living happy means what?
You have to be in control, you have to rule, and your happiness never lasts.
Because we can't be happy under those things.
God.
How much of our people happy under those kind of rulership?
No.
Because they show you like they're happy, you know.
But most of punish them.
You would like to know the fear most of these rich black people living.
God.
But talk about them living in white neighborhood.
God.
Remember, I think it was Kobe Bryant who then went and graffiti in place, all right, nigger and all kind of thing on it.
God.
In shock. I said, I thought I was past this. It was past what? Not past it, yeah.
So, yeah, maybe them rich white rich black people there, you know. Alright, in my opinion, they are more a slave, you know, than even the money I get to, you know, because they want more. See them know, they must be a smile and a wave and a, you know, and a pretend in order to coexist amongst them white neighbors. Because that's all them have been a white neighbors, you know. See, them not have no room to be themselves.
Exactly. While you in
me not
you in the
get the
ghetto,
oppression still, but why?
you can be yourself.
Do more of this still. You see? So them know, them have the money, but
they have to be politically correct at all times.
God.
Look for I.S.U.P.K. I.S.U.P.K. going wear MAGA hat.
Weird hat.
I mean,
yes. That the gangster God.
I mean, big gangster like
That the gangster God too.
So I'm sure it's all about money, you know.
A money thing.
A money thing. So you stay there and you watch these men, watch their lifestyle, fall in love with their lifestyle, many times copy it, not realizing that to them it's just for the money.
Okay.
But here, what we're teaching you is not for the money.
Okay.
It's so that you can have the money. Not so that you get money from them or from anybody, but that you in control of your wealth. Because that was the promise unto Israel. Be in control of your wealth, be in control of rulership of the earth. All you have to do, be true unto the Most High, follow these laws.
Good.
But we always feel that we can, just like they do in the church. You come to church and you're looking holy and you look like you're really following what God say you should do and all that. And when you go home, and the matter of fact, you know, in these, about what we were reading here, they were actually doing these things in their chamber, meaning at home.
Yeah. That's some secret chamber.
Right. It
in
was
in the temple.
And they were doing it secretly in the temple.
Okay.
Because they would come in the gathering, but you won't hear them saying, Hail Ishtar or something like that. You understand? They do it and they do the worship in there secretively. So that was the secret society of the day.
Okay.
Right.
Not really a secret society.
Yes.
Idolatry in secret.
That was the secret society of the day.
God.
So they now get the feeling that, yeah, once me show the true Israelite, keep the feast, give the Passover and all that in front of everybody, when I go home, I have a little shrine, because many of these idols, false religion, they have shrines that you put at home. So you dedicate one little section of your home that they call it altar.
God.
And you go and you burn the incense and you so on and so forth before it in your chamber.
So I know we get the whatnot from. The whatnot thing, the figure them and something.
Probably no.
Like a little shrine in your house would be idols.
Because that's what go on whatnot, isn't it?
Yeah, because what I do with that thing, that dog, make out that glass. What is the purpose of that?
If you're not bowing down to it, is that if you're not bowing down to it, you know, not wrong.
Yeah, I know, but me I say, what would I really?
Originally, when it started, probably it wasn't a dog, but it was the shrine of whatever God you're involved with.
Then I center the room and
Right.
it's decorated.
So when people come and see it, they won't even know that it's some idolatry in, unless you tell them. They just to decorate my home. And they say, wow, I like it. Understand?
Yeah.
So this is how idolatry is. You can end up buying a new vehicle, and that's your idol. How you treat it, you treat it better than how you treat God. That's why we tell you we don't celebrate birthdays. You have a day that you dedicate to yourself and say, yes, today is my day. And you do this and I do that. And then, okay, fine, you do it to yourself. What are you doing for the Most High? I hear one say, but every day I forgot day. Yeah, every day I got day, including your birthday. But what you do for him? Seems like what you do it for yourself. What you do for him to show that you appreciate it. But because of that, the Most High said, don't do what the heathens do.
Imagine you're not slack yourself, you're not doing nothing to please the Most High, but every year you do something.
You remember your birthdays. Yeah. But what you doing to...
Since I have God, then guide yourself.
All right. And you guide yourself right into slavery.
Yeah.
Because these nations want to take your labor. And trust me, I think that was what was coming up with the Northern Kingdom. When they start putting them in cages and things. Yeah. Remember writing that time coronavirus licked them? Yeah. Continue reading.
Another one, gun. Verse 16.
17.
Verse 17. Gather up thy wares out of the land, O inhabitant of the fortress. Verse 18. For thus saith the Lord, behold, I will sling all the inhabitants of the land at this once, and will distress them, that they may find it so. Verse 19. Woe is me for my earth, my wound is grievous. But I said, truly this is a grief, and I must bear it. Verse 20. My tabernacle is spoiled, and all my cords are broken. My children are gone forth of me, and they are not. There is none to stretch forth my tent anymore, and to set up my curtains.
All right. So this was referring to the time that we were in the wilderness, and you had the various houses of Levite who had the responsibility to set up the curtains, to spread the tent, to do all that. And now they have their own tabernacle built by Solomon, and there's no one to do the things that is to be done in there. And it's not that they leave and it's just out there. They are secretly into other things, into idolatry. Because most times they don't want the nation to know what they are involved with. So they do it secretly. This is how you have buildings and secret rooms underground, I should say.
Yeah, good.
So you have a room underground can hold on 20, 30 people. And then they gather. Exactly. They gather under there.
If they do that in the open court where everything to go on,
right?
They say, what them go on with? You know what I mean? You look away.
Exactly, and we come up against them.
Yeah. Okay, that experience.
But at the same time, the Most High sees, and it angers him because why? It's not the poor of Israel doing it, you know. You might have some poor in it,
leader,
but it's the one who should be leading the people. So this is why I'm telling you, say there's no one to verse what?
Verse
20. That is tabernacle is spoiled. All my cords are broken. That's the cords that hold up the curtains and things. That if you go back and read from the time of Moses, you would understand what he's explaining here. My children are gone from me, and they are not. They're gone from him, but them still out there now. But they're not worshiping him, they're worshiping others.
Okay, it's a most high speak.
Right. Jeremiah, through Jeremiah. There is none to stretch forth my tent anymore. So, because we used to put up the tent for the tabernacle, and you have the various houses of Levi whose responsibility it was for the tent, for the card, for the this, for the that, right? And to set up my curtains. So then there's none. For the pastors, continue.
Verse 21. For the pastors are become brutish and have not sought the Lord. Therefore they shall not prosper, and all their flocks shall be scattered.
So all these people, call them pastors, they are leaders, right?
Yeah.
They have not sought the Lord. Therefore they shall not prosper. You see? That is the beginning of them not prospering, not sorting, not seeking after God, not following the laws, statutes, and commandments. Right? And their flock shall be scattered. So the people who, Levite, listen, the people who supposed to be their flock, to bring things unto them, the Most High will scatter them, but then they feel good. This is what he's talking about. So the very Levites who were supposed to lead the people unto God is in idolatry. They are the pastors in those days, in Jeremiah time. They are leading the flock astray. Behold,
verse 22. Behold, the noise of the brood is come, and a great commotion out of the north country, to make the city of Judah desolate, and a den of dragons.
Right, this is invasion now, you know. Right. Invasion from the north. That was what Jeremiah was telling them. So, putting it in a little, parable. Yeah, without telling them, say, God will send a nation against you, telling him that a commotion out of the north country to make the cities of Judah desolate. That is invasion. That's war. Continue.
Verse 23. O Lord, I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps.
Okay. So this is Jeremiah saying, he knows that the way of man is not in himself. All right, we can find out that part of eternal life, we said. We cannot, as men, as humans, we cannot walk and direct our own steps. We need the Most High's guidance. What these nations try to do with idolatry, you know, the older ones who have become the gurus, lay down writings and things that is supposed to guide the steps. Traditions that is supposed to guide the steps of the younger ones coming. But we don't need that. Each time we get a wise man or a prophet, it's because we stray from the path. Jeremiah came about, and we look and say, yeah, Jeremiah was a strong man of God and blah, blah. Yeah. But why did Jeremiah came?
Because Israel gone off in captivity.
Well, we weren't in captivity yet. Yeah. But they were strayed from the Most High. Yeah. That's why he sent him. And we look and we say, yeah, Ezekiel was one of the strong prophets too, you know. The father Daniel. Yeah, the man that is strong, you know. Why? Because the nation itself went astray. So the Most High had to send a shepherd to bring it back. That's the only reason. UPK came about today. Why?
He's in dire despair.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just to lead back the flock, right? To show what the true path to the flock. That's why we have UPK today. If we were on the right path, we wouldn't need to say, you know, give me some of the things we say again. No cowards. What's about give me some of our slogan about? Remind me some of the UPK slogans.
No excuse.
No excuse. No cowards.
We are not affiliated with any other.
We are not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite organization.
Good.
What else?
We are the home of the truth.
The home of the truth.
Good. Life is about war.
Life is about war. Boot up or shut up.
Good.
Because we have gone astray.
Good.
That has laid the way for us now to push these onto the people. People are telling us, I don't want to have the truth and blah, blah, blah. I say, okay, we are the home of the truth. This is where it all started. This is where the rebirth of the nation started.
God.
You go out there and you meet upon others and thing, and you have to display no fear, no cowards.
God.
And then when you go back and you read the scriptures, you find it. This is how the nation is supposed to be. So you wonder, what else our people need? But the most I have always going to give them more, because when they see the grand entry, just like how the scripture put it, we shall run unto the Most High, and He shall receive us with open arms. So there is more. They don't want to be continue tough-headed. It's just that you won't be a leader in the kingdom. But if you live, when the chariots come, you will make it. But you might not be a leader. You want to be a leader in the kingdom? Come on board from now.
God.
Yeah. Show your strength. Show that you are no coward. Show that you're willing to die for the kingdom. Every king, you know. Why you think you treat a king with so much pompous and glory as you do? Because the king is willing to die for his kingdom. Right?
God.
Except we're not talking about the greedy coward ones.
Not Donald Trump.
Well, I didn't call her names. But you think of protecting. If you read our path that we have traveled, so we get back the kingdom, so we lose it. So we get it back, so we lose it. Because weak men keep on being leaders.
God.
You need strong men to be leaders.
Lucky, a weak man can't be a righteous man.
Well,
righteousness takes work.
Takes strength.
God, it takes strength.
Yes.
God.
Because you have to be strong against the evils that are coming up against you.
God.
Evils will come against you.
God. And a Christian church, lucky yourself, and just glorify weakness. I see him to I tell my stepfather.
And cowardness.
Yeah. Just glorify weakness, like being weak is where you desire to become.
I remember when I become a Christian, you know, when the man, you are a strong black man. For instance, we in our armband with this rough look. Let's say you go into church.
God.
Why you have to wear these?
Yeah.
Why you have to look so rough?
Yeah.
And before you know it, the next thing you are there to say, hey, listen, don't do that. They say, hello, why are you doing that?
God.
Don't you know you should not be doing that?
God.
So rather than just say, you be stern. Stop that. I just spoke to you. Don't do it. Didn't I just speak to you?
Yeah.
Come on now. Don't do that.
Still like yes, I say something.
Yeah.
You know, so my old lady feel like me I usurp authority in that place, see? Because when we talk to my little nephew, I have to do what I tell him to do. But you see what they are disrespect mother. You see, they are constant, you know, bickering and like the youth them nah hear that. So it's like they are not always have to have this argument, and every time she talk to them, she say like, what? So we have to call Andre to talk to them. We have to call Andre to talk to them. Hey, Andre, they're running here.
Yeah, because of Christianity, you don't understand that a man start from age 12. A man needs a man to rule over him. Speak to, the next time you speak, you have a nice talk with a police officer. Particularly one that is in the force for some time. Right? Ask them about this. Young men without a father, how the police view them, what problem they give the police. Yeah. And they being honest is going to tell you that, boy, 3/4 of the man in the prison, you they will grow without father. And they will also tell you that a lot of the young boys who have no father, the mother have to be using the police to be the father. As them give trouble at home, they take up the phone and call the police.
Yeah, man, I reach 15, 16, sneak all muscular man in there.
All right. So this now explain or give a little insight into why Judah in America, why the white man is so much in the neck of Judah. It have power to it, yes, but it's the same thing. Father not in the home for whatever reason, and the mother have to be constantly calling the cop. But the cop who shall call is a white man.
God, man come to kill.
Exactly. Out here, there's the same thing, you know. The mothers have to be constantly calling the cop. But because, remember what you're going to say, but because these cops are also black people and they recognize that, they are not quick to arrest these young men. They go on them. Why you don't listen to your mother? You know, sometimes they're more like a peace troop.
Yeah.
They go on and stand. Even domestic violence between the man and the woman, they call the cop come and cry peace. Cop not quick for arrest.
Yeah,
Isa would have arrested most likely the two of you. Right? So not because we don't see these police killings and things in Jamaica, don't mean that these are not. It's the same thing. It's right across the board for Israel. But who is the one that is standing in the gap? Judah have the white man to stand in his gap. And that is, well, that's the most way for punishing him still, you know. Because he was the one with the throne in the kingdom. And him lead you astray. The Levites, the Asians, they saw them film punishment go. We as Benjamites lose the kingdom from King Saul. But we didn't lose the kingdom to another nation. We just lose it to another tribe. I mean, it went into war. Many of us died. Maybe many of us as Benjamin in the truth now didn't get our ass killed by his past life. By the way, that is Judites. But we have to understand how we as a people function before we can understand why these nations is the way they are over us. Christ give you the key, you know. House being divided among itself, what? Can't stand. So this is why Israel constantly have people over them. We are divided among ourselves. And the thing that they use to divide us is the idols. Because that's the ultimate of a man thought, the God, What is God?
Yeah, all you worship God, and you know what I mean, and we tend to look for the easy way out.
Exactly. That's the ultimate in a man thought, the way he sees what is God. Because that is what he models his life from.
Yeah.
So if you get the wrong image of what is God, then his whole life effed up.
God.
We know as fishermen, we have hell reeling them in. You throw the bait, yes, but if you reel them in is a problem, boy. All right.
Yeah.
All right, to give you an example about what we were saying about the cops. All right, last night, Tamara and I were traveling. Police stopped her that night. She was driving. She didn't stop at the feet. Went down. The police. Why you didn't stop where we stopped him? Get out of the car. Blah, blah, blah. When me look out at one of my schoolmates. And then after she come out, she was the one driving. So then, they take out the driver first. Right. So the car can't run away. That's why they do that.
Yeah. Oh, no, I know.
Yeah, they take out the driver first. So the car can't go nowhere now. Right. No one driving. And then, so if someone in the car even fire at them, there's no driver in the car. Right. Now, when we say next passenger step out, I'm gonna step out. And the other cop said, there's only two in the car, every 31 said, call him by name and say, yes, so and so. Are you? And funny enough, that must have been the most high, because we were there talking about the truth, because he was saying to me now that, watching things on the I see the videos and the net. Yeah. And I watch a class sometime that we were there talking. But he know me from school days, so I was saying, man, I didn't see this coming. And I said, well, if you really know me from school days, you know that means that I'm no nonsense man, and from me know the truth, I'll make it known. He said, well, yes, that is true. But the way a person sees what is God, and luckily for us, yeah, our people have strayed, but our cops, in a way, not gone too far,
Yeah, some of them, the problem is the ones then when don't grow no father.
The cops who don't grow no father. Right. All right. You're on the day where downtown and you say something like a pint in a cop direction.
Yeah.
And the cop wait till you and I separate, and then they attack you alone.
God.
Suppose it was a white man. What do you think it could have happened?
Try to kill me or something.
First thing we'll do, we'll tell us about arrest you. And maybe you say you don't do nothing to be arrested. That is the first thing that will cause you to be resisting. That's how the killing comes. Luckily, we are policed by our own people who understands our people. Yeah. But Judah is not so fortunate. Judah is being policed by another nation who don't like them. Period. They don't like Judah. They don't like Israel. But for some reasons, like they hate Judah more than everybody else.
Judah show them how much they like him,
No, that is just since UPK. But Judah, as a tribe, was not liked by Esau from long time. Okay. Maybe it's the rulership, I don't know. Right? Jamaicans over there, we don't get the same kind of response really, from the cops, Jamaicans go over there and say, the police pull them over, white man. And when they hear an accent, and they, oh, you're Jamaican, Bob Marley, and then they start sing two Bob Marley song, and it turn out in a total different thing, right? Not so with Judah. They want to bust Judah's skull.
Despise Judah, man.
Yeah. But like I said, probably it's just the Moses punishment. Because Judah was the one who think that You can't friend them other nation.
Slack yourself. Who you think out of all I tried to get the worst punishment?
Boy, I'm gonna have to say Levite.
Are you sure I know Judah?
Judah?
Yeah.
No, sir. But that's a Levites, man.
I definitely know Benjamin. Definitely. Benjamin.
Well, you see, Judah and the Puerto Ricans are treated the way they are treated because the white man recognize that they are the leaders of Israel, of the Israelites. If police, well, thief come in your home, first thing they want to buy in his home.
Strong man.
The man.
God.
Want to bind the man.
God.
You even turn him back to the woman.
Yeah.
But you're not turning back to you.
God.
First thing, you first thing want to bind. And you all when you're a little boy, you want to bind him.
God.
So the same thing, when they take over the nation, Judah, they want to have them, that's why they have Judah in America, you know. Right under them ears. Remember the white man was out here, you know. He's still there, but not so visible.
God.
But he's so visible among Judah over there. Why? Because they know that they have to bind Judah. Because, all right, the political system over there, look at for instance, they have a black majority state. The state is black majority, which means blacks have the majority vote in that state.
Right.
Then you can set up your governor, your mayors as blacks. Make your laws within the state to suit yourself, don't.
Right.
But how they control you in the state? Turn you to criminals, over police your community. Make laws against jaywalking and all kind of something. So as you slip, they lock you up. Disenfranchising you from voting so they can rule over you.
Right.
And all this comes from the Vatican teach them, you know.
Say, be aware of Judah. Be aware of Ephraim.
They don't have to tell them that, you know.
And you see,
Because the white man is already a warrior. Just remember that is his blessing, that the sword.
It's funny that they say that in a Slovakia, sir. You know, we never know that they mention it about Ephraim. I see. You know, I watch a video and I say, oh, it remind me of Judah, so when Judah fight. One Ephraimite, you know, I fight about three, and I remember if they were Ephraimite, you know, but the man good with him father, you know. Yeah, man, the man dish it out and eventually knock out two of the man then. So I said, it look like something when I say Judah do. Like, you know, when Judah fight, Judah swift.
Right.
So,
right.
So you're right. So yes, sir.
Well, they were the Northern Kingdom leader. So America know that they should take them say state, like them a state of America, and they do have the same rights as the other 51 states.
Right.
Or the other 50, because I know nobody can. You ever hear the 52 name? 52, I saw them say, but you can't name them. They can name 51. There's one hidden state. People say Israel. People say it's Israel. They look so.
One extra state.
Yes, we made the 52. 48 on the mainland. 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. What's the next four?
Benjamin Levy.
No, man. It's 52 states of America. 48 on the mainland. So the states out now is Alaska.
Okay. And see Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
And Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Our next one.
What's the other one?
What's Judah? Israel.
People say Israel. Must be because them send taxes to Israel and thing.
Okay.
Send money to them. Billions of dollars.
Oh, you mean Israel as in
the state of Israel down there.
I look up that for you, sir. Never take notice of that before.
All right, let's continue. We have some coverage here to do.
Good.
Where are we now? Verse what we are?
Verse 24.
And we just was straight here just to talk. We're still on the topic idolatry because it's idolatry from Rome, and I'm talking about present day Rome, Vatican, that bring us under subjection to them. The Puerto Ricans, they speak Spanish. They are what? Which religion strong over there? Catholics. And what is strong in America among the Judites? Christianity. And we as Benjamites in the Caribbean, what's strong among us? Christianity.
Yeah.
We are they know that we are the next one to watch outside of Ephraim, Judah. They know that they have to watch the Benjamites. And they know that they have to watch. No, they're not so much a Levite. Levite and not in the leadership, the rulership so much. It makes the Cubans.
Okay.
Ephraim, brother. Manasseh. So they know who to watch, you know.
Okay.
And who they can, who to have a stern eye on, and who they can watch out of the corner of their eyes.
Okay.
And who they can turn their backs to. They know.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Because out of all the tribes, we, the Bosnians with, from the time of the Grecians with guerrilla warfare.
Oh, Maccabees.
Yes.
Maccabees over Benjamin.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, so I think I Levites.
No.
Okay.
No, it's in there now.
I say, yo, I look for some Benjamin.
And the tribe of Benjamin.
You know, I say, yo, search for some.
Yeah, Maccabees and all Benjamin.
Okay.
So what you think the Maroons out here learn guerrilla warfare?
And then the band, the Apocrypha, the band from Jamaica.
Thank you. Because of the Maroons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because after they made peace with the Maroon and they start to talk, you know, instead of have a drink, a white man and I say, so tell me something, what the hell do you learn to guerrilla warfare? I don't know. You read the Bible, it's in Maccabees. Why one? Oh, so I need to ban Maccabees. You understand? This is how the snake works, you know. Yeah, that's how it is. And then all the isles of the Benjamites, they watch them. Trinidad. You think Trinidad can get up and do anything on their own, much as they have isles?
Yeah.
Why do you think the East Indian have so much start there? The white man allow them to.
Okay, that was but the white man control it, or the East Indian.
White man still there, no?
White man
strong too, because Catholicism is strong, a three-strong religion over there.
Okay.
Catholicism, Muslim, Islam. Well, if you want to say four, because Catholicism, they count it separate from Christianity. But you and I know better. Catholicism is Christianity. So it's Catholicism / Christianity, the Muslims, and Hinduism. Right. So, and we now, we really just Christians strong with it, Christianity.
Rasta. They mix it.
Rasta Christian.
Rasta Christian.
I mean.
Yeah, man, Christian. Weed
Christian belief there. It's just weed smoking and the fact that each Rasta you tackle it is like you tackle a religion, right, on its own.
Like different religion.
Yes.
The whole animal says something different.
Yeah. Because
actually
all the houses crumbling now.
God.
And you see a bright Rasta out there. And him don't have a follower because him not imparting him when no to the other brother. They're selfish.
You have a mixture, Egypt, college, mix it a little bit of the Bible and Hebrew, some mix up.
Mix up. So, but you know, so it's the same imperial majesty, it's the same Selassie confuse them. Because when he crowned himself King of Kings and Lord of Lords, conquering life, he crowned himself that. So we Benjamites did not say he is. He said it of himself. And we look at it and we saw it in the Bible and we say, oh! Yeah, and then, because Rasta was so strong out here, the Prime Minister at the time invited him. He came out here under...
Which Prime Minister?
The one who served only 2 months and died.
Oh, that Shearer?
No, died, I said died. He died as a Prime Minister.
Okay.
Sangster?
Sangster?
Yes.
Okay. Never know that history.
You need to read more about your history, no problem. That Sangster was the one who invited him. But was he fully Prime Minister when he no. That Sangster was, I think, Deputy Prime Minister at the time when he invited him.
Okay.
Something like that. And he came out, they hosted the king, and thousands of Rastas said, God come. And they were not able to realize that there's a difference between Israel and Jamaica. And they should have picked it up from the time of Marcus Garvey. Because when Garvey had the Black Star Liner, park out I see, and the Africans, they must say, hey, don't pick up them Jamaicans there, them are Africans.
That go on?
Yeah.
Sir, okay. Point me to the direction where we can read that, so we can cut some Rasta.
All right.
That's
really going at the archives.
Right.
If you can get to the National Library, there's two, the National Library, or even the same Gleaner Company. If you can get to the Gleaner archives and you read the Gleaner in that time, if you know the time period they want, then you find the Gleaner at that time. Because the Black Star Line had docked out in sea and it didn't come inland,
Oh, which year that? Which year?
Right. 50s, no.
Yeah,
40s.
Them and them point it.
Yeah, they can tell you the year. Right. And you can do the research. Right. The Black Star Line dock out there and it didn't pick them up.
They allow you for photocopy some things and carry out.
Guess what? I don't know,
That phone still.
Yeah, if they allow you with the phone in there. I know what they will tell you is that you can use pen to mark the thing, because penning acidic over time, it burns the paper. Okay. But you can use pencil. And they would prefer to not mark their archives. Okay. Yeah. But you have places, I get a lot of this. When my time in college, we had to do a lot of research. When I get into these places, like so for instance, they say, you need to do a research on buildings. When I get into these facilities, I would read other things. You get me? Right. And then you have the philosophy and opinion of Garvey. You ever read it?
Yeah, the book already I don't remember the title.
I think I have one in there. You can give a read of it. Philosophy and opinion.
No, read out the whole book in about.
Hey, one thick book still,
Thick book and one small book like Babylon to think about.
Okay. But it's good to read for purpose. You're training to become a teacher in the truth. You have to know both sides of the fence. That's how you confound these idols. Or you confound a Rasta man and you don't know what Rasta is about.
True.
First thing you start talking and talk foolish, you say, what good for yourself? First thing you don't even know about Rasta. So you can't talk to me. You understand? So you have to do your research. Which is why I did put up the video about Selassie crowning himself as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Yeah. It wasn't the Rastas who get up and say he is King of Kings and Lord. He crowned himself that. There was a video. You remember that video though? I put it up on the...
Yeah, I don't remember the video. Probably missed it, but Probably you can just repost it and.
All right, if I find it. It was posted on our group page, the Facebook, Jamaica Facebook group page.
The Facebook or the Messenger?
Facebook, man.
Facebook?
Yeah. Facebook Jamaica group page.
Okay.
It was posted there. I posted one last night doing about this person from the World Bank.
Read it, man. Yeah, comment on it.
Okay, the person.
Our finance minister talk about property garden.
And the man from the World Bank I said, yeah, they gone up. And you see, what this man from the World Bank is speaking about, you know, is the same thing we read about in Esdras. The motion I tell us that in the day when I start smiting Egypt with plagues as before,
right.
Talk about the fearful consolation, that was one.
Fearful consolation?
Yes.
Signs in the sky or something like that.
Global warming, man.
Oh, global warming. Yeah.
That is what Esau called it.
Okay.
But in Esdras it says fearful consolation.
Right.
So they say we smite them with the plagues. And they're something like the eye shall we fear, they shall drive fear over them, something under them because of a fearful consolation.
Right.
So which you get some rain where just the other day we get some rain and see we get more again. So rain almost wash away. We get it more.
Right.
So when we should be preparing for work this week, we don't know what's happening.
Something else in our region about the same similar part of the last one taking.
Yeah, then I just rain start now. Yeah. And you couldn't know that we were going to get it, because you felt the heat.
Yeah.
But this is the most I'm pushing against all these nations that have led us astray. And it's one thing cause it. I think it's money cause it, idolatry.
Yeah.
Yeah, because every kingdom knows that with you presenting a God figure to a people, everything else can fall in place. If everything else don't fall in place, what do you have to correct that? The military. Well, that's what they did. They kill out the northern kingdom people until them start show up in the church.
Yeah.
They start show up in the church and then start killing them. And then you get the message that, oh, if I come to church, they won't shoot at us. So they go to church. Right. You're in idolatry. Next thing you know, you're in idolatry. All right, finish this.
Verse 24. O Lord, correct me, but with judgment, not in thine anger, lest thou bring me to nothing. Verse 25. Pour out thy fury upon the heathen that know thee not, and upon the families that call not on thy name. For they have eaten up Jacob, and devoured him, and consumed him, and have made his habitation desolate.
All right. And guess what? In the time of Jeremiah, it didn't happen, you know, because we were still in the land. But we reading it today, it has happened. All right, tell me to Hosea 1, book of Hosea.
Hosea.
Yeah. Chapter 1, starting from verse 1 to 3.
Hosea chapter 1, verse 1. The word of the Lord that came unto Hosea, the son of Beeri, the days of
Beeri,
in the days of
Uzziah,
Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah,
Right.
and in the days of Jeroboam, the
Wow.
son of Joash, king of Israel.
Jeroboam, son of Joash, king of Israel. Right.
Verse 2. The beginning of the word of the Lord. So the word of the Lord by Hosea. And the Lord said to Hosea, Go take unto thee a wife of whoredom, and children of whoredom, for the land has committed great whoredom, departing from the Lord.
So, one thing you need to understand, when the Most High speak of whoredom, he's generally talking about what?
Idolatry.
Idolatry.
Yeah.
He's not so much talking about why you see the woman them string out and them the roadside selling them body.
Yeah.
That is wrong. But at the same time, the greater sin wasn't that. The greater sin was
Idolatry, worshiping other gods.
go and serving other gods,
God.
other than the one who brought you out of bondage.
God.
Right? So when him say go and tell to Uzziah, go and take a wife of whoredom. You not tell us if you go take a wife who figure all the place. Spread the box, opening box all about the place. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about take a wife from one of your people who has been serving other gods.
God.
Because the whole of them doing it anyway. So go and do it.
God. It's similar to even today.
Similar to today.
God.
You want a woman.
She are probably Christian.
Exactly.
God.
You're in the truth.
God.
You have a lot of brothers in the truth. You want a wife. No, you're not much single woman in the truth. They are Christians. So they have gone to whoredom.
God.
They are Muslims. Christian, Muslim, or Rasta. They have become children of whoredom, as described here. Verse 3.
God, verse 3. So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, which conceived and bare him a son.
All right. So he obediently went. He did not choose a whore. He chose a woman who has gone into idolatry.
Yeah.
All right, going to the New Testament now.
God.
Right across the Bible, one thing has always been the Most High's problem. We gone to other gods. Romans
God.
4:1. All right, let's read from 1 to about 12.
God. Romans chapter 4, verse 1. What shall we say then? That Abraham our father, as pertaining to the flesh, has found. Verse 2. For if Abraham were justified by works, he hath whereof the glory, but not before God. Verse 3. For what saith the scripture? Abraham believed God, and it was counted unto him for righteousness.
All right, so Abraham, right, that's it. That's what we were talking about earlier, where Abraham just believed what he heard, what he read about God. Yeah, and decided to say, yeah, here and idolatry with the rest of my family, you know. And he was kicked out Mesopotamia.
Yeah.
Went into Canaan, start herding cattle and sheep. Understand?
Yeah.
And it was counted unto him for righteousness. Continue.
Verse 4. Now to him that worketh is the reward not reckoned of grace, but of debt.
Of debt.
God.
Which means that you owe something, you know.
God.
So the man who do the work, yeah, the reward is reckoned not by grace, but it's owed to you.
God.
Continue.
Verse 5. But to him that worketh not, but believe and him that justifieth the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness.
Right. So the man who don't put in the work. You in the UPK, you put in the work.
God.
But there were times when, like before UPK, they knew there were those of our people knew the truth before UPK. You know.
God.
They were in slavery, coming up right through.
God.
There's always that handful at the most I choose, right throughout generations, who never get entangled with whoredom, with idolatry. Guess what? You might even find yourself, you might even go in a church, you know, but guess what? They make the most, something wrong with it?
No, Alex, look at me just right, so.
Okay.
I'm looking there for what you got.
They made you make the most problem in the church.
God.
because you know the truth, and everything they tell you is like, nah, man, something right about what they say, man. And like, oh, yeah, man, it's a regular troublemaker, this man. And you're never a part of them. Continue reading.
God. Verse 6. Even as David also described it, the blessedness of the man unto whom God imputed righteousness without works.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 7. Saying, blessed are they whose iniquity are forgiven and whose sins are covered.
Mm-hmm. Blessed.
Verse 8. Blessed is the man to whom the Lord will not impute sin.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 9.
What impute mean again?
Another one can represent something, especially something undesirable, as being done or possessed by someone. Attribute.
Come on in.
Represent something, especially something undesirable, as being done or possessed by someone.
Okay. So to him he will not impute sin. Where is it? Verse 1.
Verse
6. No.
Verse 6. Even as David also described the blessedness of the man.
Okay, God, to whom he imputed righteousness without works.
Yeah.
Continue.
Verse 7, saying, blessed are they whose iniquity.
Is 8 man. 8 to them. Blessed is the man.
Yeah. Verse 8, blessed is the man to whom the Lord will not impute sin.
Right. 9.
Verse 9, cometh this blessedness then upon the circumcision only, or upon the circumcision also? Upon the uncircumcision also.
All right. Cometh this blessedness then upon the circumcision only, or upon the uncircumcision also? All right. That's a question for.
Another one can. For we say that faith was reckoned to Abraham for righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 10. How was it then reckoned when he was in circumcision or in uncircumcision? Not in circumcision, but in uncircumcision. Verse 11. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had yet been uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe.
First one.
This is 11, sir.
That is 11. You read. Yep. You finish it?
Last, sir.
All right. Read over 11 again. And he received the sign.
Verse Verse 11. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith, which he had yet been uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe.
All right, so when the Most High took Abraham's faith for righteousness, Abraham wasn't circumcised then.
God.
Right. He was circumcised as a big man.
God.
He wasn't circumcised on no 8th day by no priest in the temple.
God.
But his actions, his faith in the Most High was accepted by God as righteousness. It wasn't by works. And from there, him just having the thought that them idolatry thing, man, put away them idols, man.
God.
Sick and tired of these idols, man. No, sir. Because Abraham is from the line of what name?
Terah and father name.
Not father, but all the way back
Noah.
to we know Noah.
Shem.
Shem. Where Adam's son Seth.
Seth.
Right.
God.
Right. And Seth was the lineage that he used to do his works in earth. They would know what is right to keep the laws. The laws were around a long time, you know.
God.
What wasn't around was the covenant.
God.
Because they know the clean animal. When Noah was putting animals in the ark, how much of the clean animals went in?
7.
7 or 5?
7.
And how much of the unclean?
2.
Right. Because the most I know said they want food, so they go eat out. The most slaughter somebody. The most slaughter somebody clean animal them. So you put 7 of them in there.
Yeah.
Right. So Abraham was the one in line now, and Abraham make a stand and say, no, brethren, but this thing has gone too bad. Too much idols, man. Follow the Most High. The Most High said, you know, that this man is righteous. And he made him father of nations. Continue reading.
God one gun. That righteousness might be imputed unto them also. Verse 12. And the father of circumcision to them who are not of the circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he has been yet uncircumcised. Verse 13.
No, 12 will stop. So we say that showing Abraham moving away from idols, coming into the Most High, into righteousness. We move in the same way now, because I mean, when the UPK started, which of the priests were circumcised on the 8th day? All that. There was no temple. So we're rebuilding just like Father Abraham now, coming out of sin, out of a sinful world. Building. It was Abraham alone. Now it's thousands of us in the UPK and growing. That's a good part. It's growing. All right. Any questions? These are another topic.
A question with time. I should not write them down. The time I have a question, I remember. For the question about.
You can WhatsApp it sometime.
No, not was that.
so with no questions to ask, with that we turn the class, pass the class over to priest and officer in training. I had one.
All right, clap it up.
Oh, we can say the prayers, the two prayers. Yep. I don't know where to put it. Stand and say the Lord's Prayer.
Stand for the Lord. Lord's Prayer.
Stand, face the east for the Lord's Prayer.
Face the east.
First in Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, and then English.
Another one. Abanawa.
Abanawa.
Shabashamayam.
Shabashamayam.
Kwadash.
Kodash.
Aya.
Aya.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Malakwatka.
Malakwatka.
Tabaha. Ratazaka.
Ratazaka.
Haya.
Haya.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Rataza.
Barataza.
Kawa.
Kawa.
Haya.
Haya.
Bashamayam.
Bashamayam.
Natanlanawa.
Natanlanawa.
Lakam.
Lakam.
Kal.
Kal.
Yawam.
Yawam.
Wasalaklanawa.
Wasalaklanawa.
Kawabwatnawa.
Kawabwatnawa.
Kasalaknawa.
Kasalaknawa.
Kawabwatyanawa.
Kawabwatyanawa.
Walaha.
Walaha.
Tabayanawa.
Tabayanawa.
Banasayawan.
Banasayawan.
Abad.
Abad.
Awashainawa.
Awashainawa.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Right.
Right.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Amalakwat.
Amalakwat.
Wahahala.
Wahala.
Wahatapara.
Wahatapara.
La Aiwalamyam.
Aiwalamyam.
Amen.
Amen. In English, Our Father which art in heaven.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth.
Thy will be done in earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
So be it.
So be it.
Yeah. Prayer for the poor.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahweh.
Baba Kwasha.
Baba Kasha.
Natan Lanawa.
Natan Lanawa.
Akak. Akak. Narapa.
Narapa.
Kalmakala.
Kalmakala.
Wakal Madawa.
Wakal Madawa.
Akak.
Akak.
Latahar.
Latahar.
Amatazariam.
Amatazariam.
Akak.
Akak.
Lahakwayam.
Lahakwayam.
Amatayam.
Amatayam.
Amatayam. Slaki. Akak.
Akak.
Ilrakawa.
Ilrakawa.
Hatamala.
Hatamala.
Lagarashan.
Lagarashan.
Bahashan.
Bahashan.
Slakia. Bahasham.
Bahasham.
Yahawashai.
Yahawashai.
Tawara Aman.
Tawara Aman. In English, Yahweh in the name of Yahweh.
Yahweh in the name of Yahweh.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
Power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease.
The power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease.
Power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to cleanse the leper.
Power to raise the dead.
Power to raise the dead.
Power against unclean spirits.
Power against unclean spirit.
To cast them out in the name of Yahweh.
To cast them out in the name of Yahweh.
Thank you, so be.
Thank you, so be.
All right, ISUPK security announcements.
These are the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or a sister come into the school, they are off limit for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. This is another feast of the dedication, Akanika, 25th day of the 9th month, by the space of 8 days, Wednesday, December 9, 2020, for 8 days. You can find this in the 18 Maccabees and 4, 52 to 61.
I think it's second Maccabees, you know. I think it second
Maccabees 18. So that's 18.
Yeah, but you know, first and second Maccabees.
Oh,
so.
God, you know what? Slack. God.
All right, now I'll go check.
God. Reminding Akiam and Akwatiam to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and material. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that we say a majum, which means to stand. One courtesy salute to the teacher. A majum Shabbat, Barak, a majum, Tilapia. A majum
Shabbat,
a majum Shabbat, a majum, Barak, Yahba Hashem Yahshai Barakatah. Turn and face the sisters. One courtesy salute to the sisters. A majum Shabbat, a majum, Barak, Yah Shamar, Ida Tamba Hashem Yahshai. With that, Yah Jamata, class dismissed.
When you salute the sisters, you already at Mahamadu.
God.
So then you just say Mahamadu again, you just say Mahamadu Shabbat, then back to Mahamadu, then salute.
God.